Chain waxing, it saves you money, it makes your bike faster, and it just got a whole lot quicker and easier thanks to this, this, and this. And with all this, you can now degrease and wax a chain in one quick and easy step. I'm gonna show you how. Chain waxing, I blooming love it. Now, hot melt waxing my chains is something I've been doing for a long time now, and it's helped make my chains last consistently 3 times longer, sometimes even more than that, which is super important because it also makes the other expensive components on your bike last longer, like cassettes and chain rings, and they can be really expensive when you have to replace them. Not only that, it helps keep your bike cleaner because it attracts less dirt than, you know, oil-based sticky lubes, and it's faster too in terms of drivetrain efficiency if you're looking for marginal gains. Now, while I think everyone can agree that all sounds great, it does take longer than just banging on some traditional wet lube onto your chain, and not everybody has that extra time spare. Fortunately, Silca has come to the rescue with these StripChips. The advantages of using the StripChips are that it makes chain waxing a one-step process. It removes the need for solvents and degreasers. It's able to contain everything in this single vessel as you do it, and it prolongs the life of your drivetrain. And while the StripChips may look like a tasty bar of chocolate, there's actually some cool chemistry going on with what's contained within here, which I will explain as we do it. So let's crack on. Step 1, add 300 grams of secret chain blend wax to your chain waxing system, or whatever pot it is that you're melting the wax in. Then you're gonna add 1 StripChip and turn the temperature to 125 degrees C. So you can use other heaters. I've used crock pots in the past, and people do sort of a boil in the bag type thing. But the advantage of this one is that it gets it to the exact right temperature you need, and it's digitally controlled. So it goes up to 125 degrees C, and that is universal within that bath. Cheaper heaters can have hot spots, which can then, you know, be hotter in certain places than others, which can damage the wax. Now, if you go beyond that 125 degrees, you can start to burn and damage the wax, which will mean it won't work as well. And you need to get it up to that sort of temperature so that the wax is sufficiently liquid so that it can permeate inside all the links and rollers of your chain, which is where you want it. And we also need to get it to that temperature so that the special StripChip chemical reaction can occur. With the wax heating up in the bath, we're going to apply 1 piece of StripChip and just leave that to melt on top of the wax. We're then going to take our chain. We're then going to take our chain to be waxed and remove it from the packaging. Now, you can see that when you buy a new chain, it has all the packing grease on it. Now, when you use this particular method with a StripChip, you don't do it on an old used chain. This is specifically for a new chain with packing grease on it as it comes, and the StripChip removes the packing grease from it. So what we're going to do is use this chain coupler, which is the other cool gadget we have here today that makes life a lot easier, and we're going to thread the chain through onto the chain coupler on every sort of 8th link or so. This device is blooming great because it just makes life so much easier. So we're going to hang that there while the wax is melting. You can see it's starting to melt now. The wax has now reached 125 degrees Celsius. We're at the optimum temperature to put the chain into it. So I'm going to carefully lower the chain into the bath of liquid wax. And at this temperature, the StripChip is at the optimum temperature to oleogelate the oil and grease that's on the chain. So we're going to agitate the chain in here inside the bath, and then we're going to leave it for 10 minutes. Hey Siri, timer, 10 minutes.
10 minutes, starting now.
So once 10 minutes is up, we're gonna give the chain just a quick shake and just agitate it a bit more. What we're trying to do here is get the wax and the strip chip ingredients to just permeate inside all of the links and rollers of the chain, as that is where you want your wax to go. You don't want the wax so much on the outside as much as you do on the inside, on the high friction parts of the chain. Right. We're now going to reduce the bath temperature to 75 degrees. So the reason why we drop it to 75 degrees Celsius, and this thermostatically controlled bath is perfect for that because it gets it to that perfect temperature, is because that is the temperature at which you want to remove the chain from the wax. The reason being is because as the wax cools, it gets a little bit thicker and a little bit more viscous, and therefore it sticks to the chain and stays inside those links and rollers that little bit better. If we were to remove the chain at 125 degrees, then the wax is just too free-flowing. It's too liquid, it's not viscous enough. And so when you pull it out, it just all falls off and just all drops off the chain back into the bath. We don't want it there, we want it in the chain. But again, having this bath that controls it makes life so much easier, because when I've done this in the past with a crock pot, you don't have that exact thermostatic control, so you're kind of guessing. And the way that you normally guess is you're sort of looking at the wax, and sometimes you're blowing on it to sort of see if a skin is forming on the top. That's another way that you can tell it's sort of at that right transition temperature. But it's just a faff, and sometimes you miss it and the wax has got too cold, and you pull out the chain with the wax on it when it's too cold and it's far too viscous, and you just have this claggy, cloggy mess just covering your chain, and well, you kind of need to re-wax it again, which takes more time. When the chain has reached 75 degrees, you simply pull it out and hang it on the stand to cool and dry. One other little thing to point out, people will probably ask, why haven't I put the quick link in the bath? So the advice is that you don't. Keep that out of the bath, otherwise it just gets clogged up with the wax and it's quite hard to fish out. What you do is when you attach your chain onto the bike, just simply use the Silca super secret drip-on lube and just apply a couple of drips onto the quick link once you've attached it onto the chain on the bike. Allow the chain and the wax to cool so that it firms up, but before you put it on your bike, I highly recommend that you loosen it off. So you can do this by running the chain around some kind of round handle or some kind of rod, which just helps just loosen all the links and break it in a bit before you put it on your bike. But when you first do put it on your bike, it's normal for it to be a little bit louder than what you're used to, and that's just as the chain breaks in. Once it's broken in, it will become quieter. 12-speed chains tend to take a little bit longer to break in than 11-speed, and if it's colder, that break-in time will be a little bit longer too. But once it's fully run in, well, you've got it on your bike, go off, enjoy lower friction and less dirty riding and more longevity out of your chain and components. But before you go, I need to give you some important key bonus bobbins tips. So first one is, whenever you wax a new chain, use a strip chip to get rid of the factory grease. If you put the factory grease inside your wax pot without a strip chip, the factory grease will actually damage the wax and chemically react with it and make it not very good, and it won't work as well, and you're effectively ruining your pot of wax. Silca recommends that with a 500-gram bag of wax, such as this, you could potentially strip 6 new chains. Each time though, you'd use a fresh strip chip. But once a chain has been stripped and waxed, it doesn't require a strip chip ever again. If you want to re-wax it, you can simply pop it in the hot melt wax and do that. If you want to clean it a bit first, that helps prolong the wax a little bit. You can either wipe it down with a microfiber, or if it's particularly dirty, you can strip it a bit with some chain stripper and clean it that way. And a pot of 500 grams of wax should be good enough for around 40 to 50 chain waxings. Right, I hope you found this useful and this has tempted you to have a go at waxing if you've not done it before, or just modify your existing setup, because everything here just does make life so much easier. I absolutely love it. If you've got any questions about chain waxing though, fire them down below and we'll aim to answer them in a future tech clinic. I'm gonna go now. Love you, bye.